Hey man, just finished watching the latest video and it were alright, but it were a bit slow. Do you think we can pick up the pace a bit, you know, get some energy going? Yeah, thanks for that, man. It was a tough one to do, but I feel like I'm getting back into the swing of things now. Okay, great. That's great to hear. What's the next idea? Okay, so the next video idea. I figured I'd go back to my roots and do some more Necron work. I've got the new Killteam box. Necrons again? Really? What's wrong with Necrons? Well, hear me out. This is my idea. What if we took a bunch of models and then painted them up with like 99 layers of paint on each one, like something crazy, just to make them look horrible. Pure clickbait content. Guy just did that from Midwinter Minis, except he did 100 layers of paint. What? 100 layers of paint? Yeah. Well, we can't compete with that. Yeah. 100 layers of paint. Why? Funny video. Funny video. All right. Guess we're going with the Necron idea then. Get cracking. Righto, boss. I'll get to it.
Pickle jar, miniatures, excellent!
Hi guys, it's Josh, this is the Pickle Jar, and today we're painting up my favourite miniatures in the Warhammer 40k universe, Necrons. Over the years, I have painted up a hell of a lot of Necrons in various different colour schemes. They have been my longest standing army project and my favourite faction to play as. I'm not exactly sure what it is, whether it's the fact that they are undead robots, whether it's the characterisation in some of the novels and books, or whether just because they look really cool. I don't know what it is, but these are my absolute favourite miniatures in Warhammer 40k. Now, I've done a few videos on the channel where I have painted up various different Necrons in different colour schemes and done different tutorials for weapons and things like that. But today, I want to do a new Killteam. A while back, Games Workshop kindly sent me out the new Killteam box, the Shadow Vault box. And when I saw that this contained Necrons, including a new Cryptek model, I was very, very excited and couldn't wait to get started. Then I had a month of being depressed, but now we're back to it. Now, over the years, I have painted up a lot of different Necrons. Some of them have been in official Dynasty colours, some of them have been in my own custom colour scheme, some of them have just been fun experiments to try out new paints and new tools that I've had in the hobby. And that's kind of what I want to do today. I want to try something new. The idea that I've got in my head is to do something like really warped, damaged metal that's all sort of discoloured and disfigured, almost like sort of muzzle burn, but all over the Necrons, and then have some super bright weaponry and blades to contrast against that. Before we can get started painting them though, we need to get the models built, and you all know how to build miniatures, you know how to clean them up, you know how to clip them out, you know how to glue them together, so I don't really need to tell you how to do that. So what do we do if we've got lots of footage and we don't need to talk over the top of it? Montage time! Where the f did that go? Oh, found it! Carry on now. Now that the model's built, I gave them a quick prime using my airbrush with the Pro Acryl black primer, and then left them to dry for a while I went off and did something else. Now, I know that I want these to all be sort of weird colours here and there and no real sort of order or reason to it, but they're still Necrons and I still want them to be metallic. To do this, I'm going to start off by using one of my favourite metallics to use through the airbrush, and that is the magnesium from the Vallejo metal colour range. This metallic paint is absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favourites to use. It flows like an absolute dream and it covers really nicely, and it leaves a really, really nice metallic finish without being too bitty like some metallics can be.
Bitty.
Once that was on and dry, it was time to start adding some colours. Now for this, I'm going to be going to the contrast range, and more importantly, some of the newer contrast paints from the contrast range that are really vibrant and really punchy. In the back of my head, I had kind of some like synthwave vibe colours going on, so I decided to go with purples and blues and a magenta, and then to round it off, I used an orange. I didn't actually have any orange contrast paint to hand, so I ended up using the orange from the speed paint range from Army Painter instead. While using the contrast paint, I mixed these about 50-50 with water, just to thin them down a bit, enough so that they will tint the metallic paint underneath, but they won't completely cover it up, just so I've got that bit of a sheen left underneath there. I'm applying this in a really sort of haphazard way. There's no real rhyme or reason, there's no particular parts that I want to be certain colours. I'm generally aiming for the darker colours at the bottom and then the magenta and the orange towards the top, but other than that, there's no real sort of structure to this. This is one of the fantastic things about painting kill teams, and it's why they are fast becoming one of my favourite types of hobby project to do. You get a few models and you can just go absolutely mental and try different things, and it doesn't matter if it takes a while to do them because you've only got a handful of models and then they're done. You don't have to do hundreds and hundreds of them. You don't have to do thousands of points worth of one particular colour scheme. You just do a few, move on to the next project. It's a very creatively freeing experience working on a smaller project like this and not being tied down to something that you're going to be working on for years and years and years to come. Handful of models, get them done, move on. Absolute perfect project for someone that's looking to get that dopamine hit after having a really depressing month. Now that all the colours are on, I took a look at these and they weren't quite what I was sort of wanting them to look like. The colours were fantastic and looked really cool, but I think they had covered up too much of the metallic from underneath. To fix this, I went back in with a homemade stippling brush. This is just an old brush that I've cut the ends off, so it's a nice sort of solid, rigid stippling brush, and just stippled and dry brushed on some more of the same metallic colour over the top. The idea here is that it adds a little bit of wear and tear, a little bit of irregularity to the metallic, adding some sort of weathering and stuff like that, and also bringing that metallic back to the miniatures. In some places I went a bit heavier, in some places I went a bit lighter, again just to add to the sort of randomness of this colour scheme. While I was at it, I added a little bit of riser rust as well, just to add a little bit of a brighter orange to a couple of places, again just to add a little bit more weathering. At this point, I was pretty happy with how the Necrons themselves were looking, so it's time to start on the weapons. For these, I'm just doing a quick dry brush of a sort of mid-grey on all the weapons themselves, just to bring out a little bit of definition. I'm not too bothered about going in and edge highlighting these to within an inch of the lives, because the main focus is not going to be the weapons, it's the Necrons themselves and then all of the energy parts. That's one of the things that people miss out about speed painting. They're all about technique and do this fast and do this fast. Speed painting is kind of about picking a couple of parts of a model and making those parts pop and look amazing. The rest of it doesn't really matter. If you've got a couple of bits that look good from a distance and from even up close, these look really nice. I added a lighter grey dry brush to some of the energy parts, the rods on the guns and the blades on the weapons, just to brighten those up, ready for adding the brighter colours in a bit. When you're trying to get a bright look on something, it's always better to work from a lighter base coat rather than a darker one. So I went for a very much off-white base coat on these, just to help me out later on. Once all that base work was done, I took a couple of paints from the Army Painter Air range, primarily the bright yellow and then the gauze green, and started to apply these. I'm adding the yellow to the sort of insides and the middles of the different energy parts, like the rods on the guns, the cables, the blades. I'm adding it to the centers, and then once that's on and done, I'm going back in with the gauze green and adding that a little bit overlapping, but then focusing around the outside, just so that it get that nice blend between the green and the yellow. These two colours work really, really well together, and if you're looking at doing anything like this, I'd recommend picking a couple of colours like I've done here, just to add a little bit of variety so you've not just got one flat colour. Once I'd finished putting the colours on the weaponry, I thought this kill team looked absolutely fantastic and I couldn't wait to get it finished. There's just a few more details left to do, such as going in, picking out the eyes in a pure white. I'm using the titanium white from Procurel, which is, I can't even describe it, it's just amazing. And then once that was on, I went in with the scorpion green contrast paint just to add that green glow back into those. With the models themselves done, it's just a matter of finishing off the bases. And for this, I'm going to do something a little bit different. To start off with, I'm going to apply a little bit of base ready glue and then dip them into some volcanic island base ready. This is one of my favorite base readies. I cannot live without it. It is absolutely fantastic, especially for stuff like Necrons. Now, the thing that I'm going to do different with these bases is add a little bit of pigment, but it's not just any pigment. I'm going to add some Green Stuff World fluorescent yellow pigment that glows in the dark. Now, I'm not particularly bothered about the fact that it glows in the dark because I'll not be playing Kill Team in the dark, But it is really, really bright yellow, and it adds another bit of contrast to the dark base, and it blends in and references the model so that it sort of ties everything together in that nice bright yellowy green look. All I'm doing with this is literally scooping some onto an old brush and then just dabbing it onto the base. I'm not being particularly careful about where it goes or how much goes on. Any excess I can just knock off or dust off once everything's dried. And with that, that is another Killteam finished. I am thrilled with how these look, and I cannot wait to get them on a table and try out some of the new Necron rules that came in the Shadow Vault box. Killteam has fast become one of my favourite games to work on, and I've got 2 Necron kill teams, and I'll be starting work on my Imperial Guard kill team very soon. It just allows you to work on a project and have it completely finished in not that much time. There's not a high model count, you don't have to have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of points worth of stuff, and you don't have to spend ages and ages on each project. You can just spend a weekend doing it, knock it out the park, and it's done. What do you guys think? Do you like working on smaller projects like Killteam and things for skirmish games, or do you prefer working on big army projects? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, that is going to do it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, leave us a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe if you are new. If you want to help support the channel, there are a few different ways that you can do so. The first and foremost is to join our Patreon. There's a link down below in the description for that. I want to say a massive thank you to all our current Patreon members. You guys are absolutely superb, supporting the channel and helping us continue to do what we do. If you do sign up to Patreon, you'll get access to behind the scenes content, exclusive content, as well as a load of other benefits like stickers and physical miniatures if you sub at the high level. If you want to support us in any other way, all our affiliate links are listed down below in the description. If you're picking up any new hobby projects or hobby tools or supplies or anything like that, use those links and it gives us a cutback and doesn't cost you guys anything extra. That's going to do it from me. I'll catch you in the next video, guys, and until then, enjoy your hobby.